Didn't anybody ever tell you it's not polite to ask how much things cost? I'm kidding. I would be curious too, and apparently you guys are. You wanted to know how much it cost me to build my dream house, and today I'm actually gonna tell you. I'm also gonna tell you why I chose to build the house where I did. And before I tell you what it cost, I wanna know what you honestly think the house cost me to build. All in. I'm talking furniture, I'm talking landscaping, I'm talking design, architect, everything. Down below, I want to know, what's the number? And then we'll see if you're right. But before we get into that, I need to say thank you. Thank you so much for all the incredible feedback, support, and positive comments that you left on that video. It was truly inspiring and just, I don't know, it's just amazing. Like, I know that the house is cool and we love it, but to see how much you guys thought it was cool and awesome was amazing. It was also amazing for my team to see your feedback, all right? Because I was sending them screenshots of a lot of your comments. You know, the people that helped me build this house, they're not normally featured on a YouTube video. And so for them to get that feedback and that positive reinforcement was simply special and amazing. And I kept getting messages from them just saying, oh my God, like, this is incredible. Your audience, they're so great. And I'm like, yes, they are absolutely amazing. But the one comment that I kept seeing over and over again that made me kind of feel a little bit weird at first was you guys saying that I deserve this. And I was like, wait a second, I deserve it. And then I started to like kind of unpack what that really means and what you're saying. When you deserve something, you deserve it because you worked hard for it. You deserved it because you never gave up. You deserve something that you apply yourself and are willing to basically make it happen. And so if that is the definition of deserving, then yes, I deserve this because it was fucking hard and I had to work my ass off in order to achieve a goal that I set for myself. And the other thing that I kept remembering is that you guys have been around for my story. You know, like, where I started. You were here when I was, you know, doing videos in my bedroom when I started YouTube. A lot of you guys know my story in terms of filing bankruptcy and my fitness center collapsing and being broke and so for you guys to see kind of like the evolution and for me to come kind of full circle along with me, I really just think that I just think it's incredible. And so I really appreciate it. You know, when I think about, you know, what I was able to do and what I was able to accomplish with this house, it's awesome. But what's truly the best part of all of it is that I'm happy and that I was able to figure it out. Because back when I was going through like that really rough time, like, I was at the lowest point in my life. I was completely broke. My dreams from the age of 12 years old were going away and I didn't know what the next step was. I didn't know what success looked like to me anymore. And so if there was one lesson that you can gain from me or one message in my story, it's just don't give up. You can figure it out. And even when things look rough and bleak and hopeless, if you don't give up and you keep moving forward, eventually you can figure it out. I've had over 20 businesses over my career. Most of them didn't work out, some of them did, but I never gave up. I'm a hard worker. It's not always fun, it's not always easy, but if you apply yourself and you just commit yourself, you can accomplish incredible things because I am not that smart. I'm just a hard worker. And so if there was a lesson, that would be the lesson that I would like to share. Now, let's talk about this house. First thing I want to answer before I talk about how much it cost is why I would choose this location. That's my old house that I built and that I've lived in for 5 years. I knew exactly what I was doing when I bought this lot. I knew that I wanted to be here. I'm going to explain why I wanted to be here when we go back inside. But I also just want to show you this right here. There's a lot in between the two properties that I was able to buy, and we are just getting started on something else. Shh, I'm not going to tell you what it is. All I can say is it's sexy. Speaking of sexy, everybody loved my cats in the video as well. I got cats. I got 4 cats, and they are allowing us to live here. Anyway, the other thing and reason why I said sexy so much is because one of the goals that I set out for my architect, or I told her, I said, just make it sexy, Linda. And so the term sexy was kind of like the term for the building process. Every time we would talk to a designer or whatever, I'd say, hey, is it sexy? And they'd say, yes, it's sexy. And so anyway, that's why I kept saying that word. word, but I said it way too much. Anyway, why would I choose to live here on this street? And the answer is simply, I am near cool shit. I can walk to the little square that I'm near. It's like a little town square. It's got restaurants, it's got shops, it's got really cool stuff that you can do. It's always vibrant, lots of things to do. I can literally walk there from my house in 2 minutes. And that ultimately is the thing that we love so much about our community, but also the location where we live. We can literally go out our door and in 2 minutes, we're on the square, we're grabbing a piece of pizza, we're hanging out, we're going to a bar, we're listening to music. There's always stuff going on. We love this area that we live so incredibly much. And so when you're deciding to build your dream house, you've got to pick and choose. What do you want the most? All right, do you want to be in a location that you can be near cool shit? If so, you're going to have to deal with a little bit of traffic. If you don't want that and you don't care and you want privacy, then cool, buy a lot. There are a ton of lots, basically back off of this area. I would say probably like a mile or two down the road that I could have bought and built this house. But I wanted to be close to shit that I could walk to. And that really for us was the number one thing that we were really excited to do. And the truth is, this street is only busy during rush hour. At night, it is a ghost town. But when I was filming that video, there was traffic. Does it bother me? Not really. I'm used to it. The other question was why did you build a house that close to the road with big windows? Don't you feel like you need more privacy? And honestly, I don't even think about it. We don't even think about it. What I don't do is walk around during the day naked. At night, I walk around this joint naked all the time because nobody sees me. And in terms of my neighbors in the back, the landscaping that we have here is going to be incredible. It's not grown up or mature yet, but in 2 years from now, you're not going to see anything around me. All around the entire perimeter of this property, we planted these giant cryptomeria. And they're not giant yet, but they'll get literally 30 feet tall, super big, super lush. It's going to be like a compound in a few years. It's not there yet, but it will be. And that's one of the other reasons why you don't want to skimp on the landscape and buy super teeny plants, all right? Landscaping, though, it is expensive. The other thing that we did in the back is we have these big hollies that in another few years are going to be super tall. They're going to be hedged, and literally nobody behind us is going to be able to see into our house. And so in terms of privacy, we're not worried about it. We have a great security system. We've got other things in place in terms of security and privacy, but we wanted to be in and near cool shit. And we couldn't love this area. We couldn't love this community. We couldn't love this area any more. And so when there was a lot that was for sale next to the house that I built, I was like, let's do this. It was an acre, a full acre, right in the city, the heart of the city, is unheard of. And so I decided to buy this lot. At the time, it was $330,000. I knew that there was a problem, though, with this lot. I knew that there was a big storm drain that was running diagonally through the property. And so before I bought it, I went to an engineer and I said, hey, there's this pipe. How much will it cost me to move the pipe when I decide to build a house? I wasn't going to build the house for a while, but I just wanted to know what the cost was going to be so that I could basically bake it into the lot price. And they were like, it's going to be about $40,000. Well, fast forward 5 years, and that $40,000 turned into $180,000 just to move the pipe. And then you want to throw on top the fact that the soil was unsuitable. When we started to do our testing, we realized that we couldn't just build a house here. And so we had to do what is called helical piers under the entire house. 147 helical piers, which are basically big metal corkscrews that get screwed into the ground. And once they hit a certain pressure, typically around 15 to 30 feet down, they'll cut them, they'll cap them, and then they'll tie them into the grade beams and the footer so that your house is basically sitting on stilts. That wasn't a cost that I anticipated. And then because this was a big, horrible, hole in terms of the lot, it basically went down. And we wanted to build it up so that you could have this courtyard and the pool in the center on the main level. That took 650 additional loads of dirt just to fill up this back area. And so I didn't know that any of these expenses were coming when I started the house, which is bringing me into how much this house cost to actually build. I spent so much unsexy money on this lot. All right, we had over 8 months of site work. And when I say sexy money, it's kind of like there's some things that you buy, like nice lights. It's like, ooh, that's sexy. Like, you see where the money goes. Well, this lot has a lot of unsexy money. And so the lot that I thought was going to be around like $380,000 ended up costing me, said and done, when it came to like retaining walls and everything, closer to $1 million. None of which I expected. And we're just getting started in terms of the money pit that this dream house ended up becoming. There were so many unforeseen issues and problems that nobody knew were going to happen that ended up costing me so much more money than I budgeted, that I anticipated, and that I thought I was going to be spending, which we'll talk a little bit about in a second. Something else real quick I want to kind of back up about my area. One of the things you guys notice is that there are smaller houses around me. My area is super hot. It's right outside of Atlanta, and this area is booming. Everybody wants to live in this area. And so what you see is basically a gentrification. You've got some of these like smaller, older houses. Most of them are being bought up, torn down, or remodeled. There's also a ton of like Atlanta money that's coming up to my little town. And so literally right down the road from me is like a $6 million house. All right. Behind me, a few blocks, there's the subdivision. The average price in that neighborhood is probably around like $3 million, $4 million. There's a neighborhood by the mountain that's literally like $4 million each house. Like, it's like a lot of money. So there are some bigger properties and some more expensive homes coming to this area. The other thing you have to understand about this area is that it's historic. There's tons of big, old, beautiful antebellum homes. There are also some small, tiny shitholes though. And so it's this very like eclectic mix of homes. So does the house look a little bit weird and out of place? Probably a little bit, but oh well, I love it. And like I said, the location is amazing. So anyway, back to the money pit. So how much did it cost to build this house? So the other thing that I kind of consider when I think about how much it cost to build this house, I had a lot of expenses leading up to this house. You've got the architect. My old architect for my old house cost me like $15,000 to do the house plans. The house plans were like 18 pages long, and it was pretty simple. This house, because everything was planned down to every detail, literally before we even broke ground, there was a lot that went into it. And so the architectural plans cost around like $120,000, maybe even a little bit more. I need to look at my spreadsheet. But it's because it takes a while. It's also because they basically specify everything, and it's also one of one. And that's something else that I love about this house. There's no other house in the world like my house. The way that I found my architect was I was running, and there was this house that I saw, and I was like, oh my God, it was the most beautiful home I'd ever seen. It was brick, slate roof. It had all these angles, and it just looked different. It was so amazing. And so I found the architect, and I said, hey, can you build me that house like on this lot? And she said, no, we won't copy another design. That's theirs, but we will make you yours, and you're going to love it. And so I was like, okay. And I actually like my house a lot better than the first house that I initially saw. And so it's custom, and there's a lot that goes into it. She is specifying everything, and the designs, or I should say the architectural plans, is about 100 pages thick or long, as opposed to like 12. Like, they specify everything from how much a brick sticks out from the different areas underneath, it's unbelievable the amount of detail that goes into this. And it took a really long time to do that. Simultaneously, I hired the kitchen guy, Matthew Quinn, who, real quick, is an amazing rock star in the kitchen space. He has like 4 or 3 books, all detailing his work all over the world. His shit is amazing. And that's something else that I didn't realize going into it. I thought, all right, a custom kitchen is a custom kitchen. No, that's not true. There's all different levels. I think of stuff in like levels, like watches, right? You can buy something really nice, like a Timex that's going to keep great time. You're going to enjoy it, but then you want to go a little bit nicer, maybe a Hamilton. All right. Seiko's also kind of sexy. And then you want to go a little bit higher end, like you could go something more expensive, right? You could build yourself a Rolex. All right. There's levels. Well, there's levels above this. Like, you could go like Patek, like all over the place. And so there's different levels for everything from flooring to windows to, the paint, like even like paint, like there's different levels of like paint finish, and so like it was really eye-opening, but I love it. And that's the other thing. I love building so much. I love every aspect of the building process, which is why I wanted to do it again. I got done with that house and I'm like, I want to do this again. It was so much fun. And then when I saw that one house that my architect did, I was like, ooh, I could do something like that. And then the juices just started flowing. And so I'm an entrepreneur. I always need like some type of project. And so this was the next project after I got finished renovating the salon that you guys have all seen. And that is also like a 4-minute walk from my house. And my office is less than a mile like down the other way. And so my entire like world is like built around this like very small little area that I absolutely love. So anyway, we hired a kitchen guy, and the kitchen and all of the cabinets, once again, 100% custom, and they're just different. There's just a different feel. There's a different finish. It just looks different. It just is crazy. It's also crazy expensive. Hold on to your wallet. Our closets also, we went super high end. The same guy designed our closets. And anytime you do that, you're gonna spend more money. And so I could have built this house for a lot less money than I did, but I picked finishes that I wanted. We also used an interior designer. I had to pay her a flat fee to be part of the process to help us decide and pick and choose the different things like, the different colors of stuff and the different flooring, the different tile and all of these different things. But then I also bought the decorative lighting through her. And the way that a designer works, you basically are buying things at their cost, but then they're marking it up about 30%. And then you're also paying a storage fee and an installation fee. And so if there was one person in this whole process that is like killing it the most, Kelly Anthony from Wolf Design Group, good for you. You're the one. Like the interior designers, that's the racket in this whole high-end house world. They kill it on a whole different level. And so when I think about how much my house cost, I am including her fee. I'm also including like the furniture, all right? Because I bought the furniture through her as well. Now, technically, I could extrapolate the furniture from the total cost of this house if I was actually interested in just giving you a total cost for the house. But the way I look at it is, how much did it cost me to get it like this? And so I'm going to get into that number in a second. And then you've got the landscape architect. Landscaping is expensive. The pool was expensive. All the windows, all the big iron, amazing custom windows, expensive. The railing that you see in my stairwell that's like seamless all the way down, expensive. The fact that my stairwell is floating, lots of structural steel, expensive. Slate roof, expensive. Limestone, expensive. All of these things that I did and I chose basically just made the price like just go up and 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 up. But it's less than you would expect it probably would cost. Something else that I did during construction that was an unforeseen expense was buy the lot in between my old house and my new house. I tried to buy that lot from the dude that owned it for a long time, because if I was able to buy it before I started with the plans here, I was gonna better like center the house and orient it. He wouldn't sell it, but eventually during the construction, he came to me and was like, hey, I'm ready to sell the lot. And so I ended up buying it because I didn't know what I was gonna do with it, but I just didn't want somebody to build something. I would have regretted not buying that lot. And so even though like I didn't really like plan on spending that $300,000, I was like, all right, if I don't do it now, like I'm gonna regret it. And so I ended up doing that. The other thing I kind of just want to mention is, like I said, I could have made this house like a lot less expensive. I didn't have to do 4-sided brick. I didn't have to do slate on the roof. I could have went with an asphalt shingle or something else. But we did and built the house that we wanted. And it was something that we just thought, you know what, let's do it now. Let's spend the money. Let's make it as perfect as possible and not regret not doing something or skimping out where we should have, spent the money. And that's the other thing you need to understand when you're building a house like this or any house. It's kind of like the high-low scenario. And this is something that my designer helped me and my wife kind of handle. there are certain areas, certain things that you want to spend the money on, right? It makes sense. It's like the foyer, the chandelier, like everybody sees that from the road. Everybody sees that when you walk in, like spend the money there. But like a powder room upstairs, it just doesn't make sense to spend a lot of money on the light fixture there. And so you spend the money where it's going to make the biggest impact. And that's kind of what we did with this house. We spent money where we thought it was going to be well spent, and then we saved money in other areas. And so we could have went crazy, and some people do. Like, this house could have easily been twice as expensive as it was. And the other caveat that I would just like to share with you before we really unpack the expense of this is that if you would build this house or try to build this house in a different state, a different city, like Los Angeles or New York, or really any major metropolitan area, it would have been at least twice as expensive as it was here in Georgia. Georgia is still relatively affordable when it comes to home prices, cost of living. And so the fact that we were doing it here, right outside Atlanta, really actually helped keep the price a little bit more manageable. All right, moment of truth. So what do you guys think? How much do you think this dream house cost? All in. I'm talking every expense, including the extra lot that I had to buy, the lot that I bought to build it on, the builder's fees, everybody's fees, all of the architecture fees, all of the problems, all of the helical piers, all the 650 loads of dirt, all the furniture, like all in, like how much do you think? It's interesting because you see all these house tour videos and it's like 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, right? Well, this was under 10 million. This was under 9 million. This was right at around